Hello everyone and welcome back to your path to career success. I'm Catherine and I'm so glad to have you here today for a really important conversation about something we've all experienced at some point, change and uncertainty. Whether it's an unexpected crisis, a shift in the market or simply trying to navigate through a big organisational change, we all know how tough it can be. But today we're going to talk about how to lead through these tough times and how you, as a leader, can manage crisis and drive meaningful change with confidence and clarity. Let's face it, life is unpredictable. No matter how much we plan or strategise, things can take a turn when we least expect it. And as leaders, we're often the ones who need to be the steady hands guiding our teams through these rough waters. But how exactly do you lead through change and uncertainty? How do you manage when things are chaotic and the future feels unclear? Well, today we're breaking it down. Today, I want to talk about leading through change, not just from a professional standpoint, but from a personal perspective as well. Change is a part of life, but how we navigate it can shape our careers, our lives, and our leadership styles. And I'll be sharing some of my own experiences with change, both professionally and personally. But before we jump in, I invite you to grab your favourite beverage, find a comfy spot, grab a notebook, or just sit back and relax and keep listening for those light bulb moments. As some of you may know, I spent years navigating and leading through change in my role as a HR professional, helping teams adapt during company restructures, mergers, and shifts in direction. Over the years, I've been involved in numerous high stakes situations where change wasn't just a possibility, it was a certainty. In these scenarios, I had to be at the forefront, guiding teams and leaders through turbulent times. I've seen companies undergo major restructures where departments were realigned and job roles redefined, and unfortunately, in some cases, roles were made redundant. During these periods, it was critical to not only manage the logistics and paperwork involved, but to ensure that the human side of the change was being handled with care and understanding. Change often leads to uncertainty, and it's natural for employees to feel anxious or even resistant. My role was to bridge that gap, helping them understand the bigger picture and how the change could ultimately benefit both them and the company. It wasn't easy, but the empathy and support we gave employees helped them have a sense of control during an uncertain time, helping them feel more empowered to move forward in their careers. In addition, I also want to share a personal change I experienced, a decision that, at the time, was one of the hardest and most significant decisions I've ever made. After my maternity leave, I had to make a choice. Would I return to work, or would I take a step back to focus on my family? It wasn't a decision I took lightly, and I really wrestled with it. On one hand, I had my career to think about, my ambitions, the work I'd done, and the path I was on. On the other hand, I had a new chapter in my life as a parent, and I wanted to give my family the attention and care they needed. In the end, I chose not to return to work. It was a decision that shaped my life in many ways and eventually led to me setting up the Career Owl in April 2019. And this change from maternity to setting up my business taught me so much about resilience, priorities, and how to manage uncertainty during a major life transition. First things first, let's talk about the importance of mindset. When you're faced with a crisis or challenge, it's easy to get overwhelmed. There's often this instinctive urge to react quickly, to fix everything all at once, or even to retreat. But the truth is, the way you react and the attitude you set as a leader can have a massive impact on how your team handles the situation. In times of uncertainty, your mindset is the foundation of your leadership. Staying calm, showing empathy, and leading with optimism can make all the difference. Now, this doesn't mean you will have to be robotic or even emotionless. It means recognising that your response will set the tone for everyone else. If you panic, your team will panic. If you seem uncertain, they're likely to follow suit. But if you can stay steady, clear-headed, and show that you believe in the team's ability to handle the challenge, that will inspire confidence in them. And it's not just about remaining calm for the sake of appearances. It's about providing a sense of stability. Your team is going to look to you for reassurance, for direction, and for that steady voice in the storm. They need to know that, even if the circumstances are tough, they can rely on you to guide them through it. It's about creating an environment where they feel safe to bring their ideas and concerns, knowing they'll be heard and respected. Now you might be thinking, okay, that sounds good, but how do I stay calm when everything's falling apart? Trust me, I get it. It's easy to say stay calm, but when the pressure is on, it can feel like the world is crashing down around you. The truth is, it's a skill that takes practice. However, here are 5 concrete strategies you can use to maintain that calm and steady presence, no matter what challenges are coming your way. Strategy number 1, communication is key. When things are uncertain, the number one thing your team craves is clear and honest communication. It's easy for rumours to start swirling or for confusion to set in when there's lack of clarity. But the best way to combat that uncertainty is by keeping the lines of communication open and honest. Don't leave them in the dark. Even if you don't have all the answers, it's crucial to acknowledge that and share what you do know. Transparency is empowering. Your team will appreciate the honesty and it will help them feel like they're part of the process, not just passive recipients of decisions being made elsewhere. When you provide regular updates, even those updates don't all have all the answers, it helps your team feel involved and in control of what's happening. This builds trust, and trust is absolutely critical during any crisis or period of change. Without trust, your team will struggle to follow your lead, and the whole process of navigating change becomes much harder. But just as importantly, it's not only about what you say, it's about how you say it. Your tone, body language, and the platform you use to communicate all play a role in how the message is received. In times of crisis, you want your team to feel like you're on the same side, that you're speaking to them, not at them. This makes all the difference in how they absorb the information and how they respond to it. Another key aspect of effective communication is being consistent. When the system is volatile, it's easy for messages to get lost in translation or indeed even get misinterpreted. That's why you need to ensure consistency in your messaging. Your team needs to hear the same message from you, whether they're sitting in the boardroom, working from home, or connecting with you from remote locations. This consistency helps avoid confusion and reinforces the feeling of unity. It reassures your team that everyone is on the same page. And that's important because in uncertain times, people want to feel like they're all in this together, moving towards the same goal. In practical terms, this means you need to be intentional about where and how you communicate. Whether it's through regular team meetings, emails, one-on-ones, or video calls, make sure the message remains the same and that everyone has the same understanding of what's happening. Repetition can be a powerful tool in times of crisis. It ensures the message is reinforced and provides your team with a sense of stability as they face uncertainty. And perhaps one of the most powerful things you can do in your communication strategy is to be available for feedback. During times of change, it's not enough to just communicate top down. Create opportunities for your team to ask questions, express their concerns, and share how they're feeling. When you actively listen and take their feedback into account, you create a two-way communication channel that strengthens trust even further. It shows that you value their input and that their perspectives matter. Strategy number 2, empathy and support. This one is incredibly important. When you're navigating change or a crisis, it's easy to focus on the big picture, the strategy, and the logistics. But we mustn't forget that change impacts people on a deeply personal level. Everyone reacts to uncertainty differently. Some may feel stressed, anxious, or even afraid of what comes next. Others might feel frustrated or simply overwhelmed by the sheer magnitude of the changes around them. As a leader, it's your job not only to steer the ship, but to recognise and acknowledge those emotional responses. The first step in showing empathy is truly listening to your team. People need to feel that they're heard, especially during tough times. When you take the time to understand their concerns, you're not only offering a sense of comfort, but also giving them space to process what's happening. Whether it's through one-on-one check-ins, small group discussions, or even casual conversations, consistently checking in with your team members on a personal level can have a big impact. Those moments of connection show that you do care, that you're invested in their well-being, and that you see them as individuals, not employees who just need to adapt to the change. Empathy isn't about fixing everything or pretending that everything is okay. It's about validating their feelings and offering your support in whatever way you can. Sometimes that might mean giving someone a bit of extra time or resources to manage their workload. It could also mean being flexible with deadlines or making sure that they have the tools they need to handle the pressure. And sometimes it's as simple as saying, I know this is tough and it's okay to not have it all together right now. That leads us to the importance of creating an environment where people don't feel like they have to hide their struggles. When change brings uncertainty, it's easy for people to mask their stress, to put on a brave face because they think they should. But the truth is, when leaders show vulnerability and admit that they too don't have all the answers, it fosters a culture of honesty and openness. It shows that it's okay to not be perfect and that the road to navigating change is one that everyone can walk together, supporting each other along the way. Another powerful way to provide support is through providing resources, whether that's offering access to mental health resources, external coaching, or providing training to help employees feel more confident in their new roles. Those tangible forms of support demonstrate your commitment to their success and well-being. Remember, change is hard, and how you show up for your team during these times can make all the difference. By leading with empathy, you create an environment where your team feels supported, heard, and ready to tackle the challenges ahead with resilience. Now let's talk about strategy number 3, prioritising agility and flexibility. During times of crisis or significant change, one of the biggest hurdles we face is the rigidity of existing structures, processes, or even mindsets. When things are uncertain, clinging to strict, inflexible ways of working can actually make the situation worse. It creates bottlenecks, slows down decision making, and prevents your team from responding to new challenges in real time. In these moments, what you really need is agility. Being able to pivot quickly when circumstances shift is absolutely critical. The ability to adjust on the fly, to respond to new information, and to make decisions without being paralysed by the fear of making a wrong choice. This is where flexibility comes in. As a leader, it's your job to model this flexible mindset for your team. When they see you adjusting your approach, embracing new ideas, and staying open to change, it encourages them to do the same. A flexible mindset allows for quick decision making. In crisis situations, decisions can't always be made with all the data, and often you won't have the luxury of waiting for everything to be perfectly clear and aligned. But by fostering a culture where quick, informed decision making is encouraged, your team will feel empowered to act confidently, even when they don't have all the answers. This also means being comfortable with uncertainty and acknowledging that not every decision will be perfect, but it's more important to take action than to remain stuck in decision and analysis paralysis. It also means being prepared to revise your plans. Change often means that what you thought was the best course of action suddenly isn't the right one anymore. Plans might need to be adjusted or even scrapped altogether. Rather than seeing this as a setback, embrace it as an opportunity to realign with the evolving needs of the business or the situation. Encourage your team to look at the changes not as a disruption, but as an opportunity to find new creative solutions. By staying flexible, you can respond to the change with creativity and innovation rather than feeling bogged down by it. Encouraging flexibility within your team also means creating a safe space for experimentation. Let people try new ideas, test out different approaches, and take calculated risks. A culture that values flexibility encourages learning, growth, and resilience because your team knows they won't be penalised for trying new things, even if they don't always work out. This type of environment fosters innovation, which is often exactly what's needed to navigate uncertainty and find new paths forward. In short, agility is your best friend during times of uncertainty. The more nimble you can be as a leader, and the more you can encourage your team to embrace flexibility, the faster you can adapt to changing circumstances and keep moving forward, even when the road ahead is unclear. And speaking of adjusting goals, strategy number 4 is focus on the bigger picture. In times of crisis or major change, it's all too easy to get caught up in the weeds, to become so focused on the immediate challenges that you lose sight of the bigger picture. You're putting out fires, handling urgent issues, and keeping things running day to day. While these tasks are important, they can sometimes pull your attention away from the long-term vision you set your team or organisation. As a leader, it's critical to remind yourself and your team of the bigger picture, the ultimate goal you're working towards. This doesn't mean ignoring the challenges or the immediate hurdles, but rather viewing them as part of the larger journey. Every challenge you face, every difficult decision you make, is a stepping stone that moves you closer to that long-term vision. By keeping that perspective, you help your team stay grounded in the purpose of their work, even when it feels like the world around them is uncertain. Focusing on the bigger picture also involves reminding your team why they're doing what they're doing and why it matters. When you're in the middle of a tough situation, it can be easy to lose sight of the bigger mission or the impact that their work has on the company, customers, or even the wider community. By bringing that larger purpose back into the conversation, you reignite their sense of motivation and commitment. In practical terms, you can do this by regularly communicating the long-term vision, whether that's through team meetings, company-wide updates, or even informal conversations. For example, share stories about how the change you're implementing is helping move the organisation forward towards its goal. Show how each individual's contributions are vital in reaching the bigger vision. This not only helps everyone see the purpose in what they're doing, but also strengthens their sense of belonging and ownership in the process. Keeping an eye on the bigger picture also means being able to adjust your goals as necessary. Sometimes circumstances change so quickly that the original goals you set may no longer be relevant or achievable. That's where your flexibility and agility comes into play. Being able to take a step back, evaluate the current situation, and adjust your course of action in line with the bigger vision is key to ensuring continued progress. And let's not forget that a clear and motivating long-term vision is a powerful tool for maintaining morale during tough times. When your team is feeling overwhelmed or uncertain, reminding them of the bigger picture can reignite their passion and keep them moving forward, even when things feel tough. And finally, strategy number 5, lead by example. This one is crucial because as a leader, you're the person your team looks to when times get tough. How you handle stress, uncertainty, and change can have a profound impact on how your team responds. They're watching you, your actions, your tone, and your mindset, and those things will set the tone for the entire organisation. When you stay composed during moments of crisis or change, it provides your team with a sense of stability. They see that you can manage uncertainty, which in turn helps them feel more secure in their own ability to navigate the situation. It's like a ripple effect. If you're calm and collected, it encourages others to adopt the same attitude. But if you're panicking, second guessing every decision, or letting stress overwhelm you, your team will sense that too, and it can create an atmosphere of doubt and anxiety. Now, that doesn't mean you need to be perfect and have all the answers. In fact, being transparent about your own challenges can actually strengthen your leadership. Admitting that you're feeling the pressure too and being honest about what you do or don't know helps humanise you as a leader. It's about showing that you can handle uncertainty even when it's difficult and that you're still making decisions with confidence and integrity. Another key part of leading by example is resilience. In times of crisis or change, the road is rarely smooth. There will be setbacks, surprises, and moments of frustration. But how you respond to those challenges speaks volumes. When you show resilience, not only by bouncing back from setbacks, but by also demonstrating a commitment to the long-term vision, it encourages your team to stay committed as well. They see that persistence and adaptability are valued, and that they too can push through difficult moments with determination. Your actions at the end of the day speak much louder than your words. If you preach the importance of staying focused and adaptable, but then consistently shift direction or get bogged down by the details, your team will take notice and may lose confidence. But if you consistently lead with integrity, stay focused on your priorities, and demonstrate resilience, your team will take that as their model for how to behave. They'll be more likely to approach challenges with the same mindset, and that collective strength can drive the organisation through, even during the most difficult times. So whether it's in the way you make decisions, manage stress, or lead your teams through tough situations, always remember that your example is one of the most powerful leadership tools you have. Lead with focus, purpose, and integrity, and your team will follow. So to recap, leading through change and uncertainty isn't easy, but with the right mindset and strategies, you can guide your team through the storm with confidence. The first step is to stay calm. Your composure sets the tone for the rest of the organisation. Then, communicate openly and honestly with your team, even when the answers aren't clear. Transparency builds trust. Show empathy and offer support to your team members, recognising that everyone reacts to change in their own way. And don't forget the power of flexibility. Be ready to pivot when needed and encourage your team to do the same. Next, focus on the bigger picture. It's easy to get lost in the day-to-day struggles, but reminding yourself and your team of the long-term vision helps maintain motivation, even when things feel uncertain. And finally, lead by example. Your actions will always speak louder than your words. If you approach challenges with resilience, confidence, and integrity, your team will follow your lead. Now, it's important to remember that while crises can feel overwhelming, there are also opportunities in disguise. They can spark growth, encourage innovation, and bring about positive change that might not have been possible otherwise. So embrace the challenges, take those learnings, and use them to strengthen your leadership moving forward. I hope you found these strategies helpful. Leading through change can be tough, but with the right approach, it becomes an invaluable experience for both you and your team. If you've got any tips or experiences you'd like to share about leading through change, I'd love to hear them. Feel free to reach out to me on social media or drop me a message. I'm always interested in hearing how others have navigated through tough times in their leadership journeys. And as always, thank you for tuning in to Your Path to Career Success. If this episode lit a fire within you, hit that subscribe button, share the love with a review, and spread the wisdom with your friends and co-workers. Alternatively, follow me on LinkedIn, Catherine Hall, the Career Owl. Until next time, keep leading with confidence, stay focused, and remember that change, while challenging, is also an opportunity to grow, innovate, and lead with purpose.